Doctrine and Devotion, a podcast exploring Christian faith and practice from a Reformed Baptist perspective.
Beautiful.
My name is Joe Thorne. I am the lead pastor of Redeemer Fellowship in St. Charles, Illinois.
And I'm Jimmy Fowler, elder candidate at Redeemer Fellowship.
What's up, Fofo?
I don't know. What's up, JoJo?
You know what we did? I just had an orientation here at the church.
No, we call that an intervention.
No, that was
we had an intervention. Need to speak into Joe's life. There's a couple areas that need adjusting, particularly his height and his inability to cope with his height. It's just
a lot of height-related issues.
A lot of height-related issues, and you weren't defensive. I wouldn't say. You seemed a little angry,
but that's
well. I mean, it goes without saying. The angry dwarf is going to be angry.
Scorpion.
Scorpion. Scorpion.
All right, listen. Let's get back to the thing. I don't know why Jimmy's making up stuff.
No, not making up stuff. It's called intervention.
We had what most people call their membership class. We just call orientation because it is a 3-hour class that is an introduction to Redeemer Fellowship, our theology, our culture, our beliefs, all of that. So
we're kind of lazy on that, though, right? Like we only do 3 hours. Others do like 3 weeks of study or a 10-week study. Or
well, if they do a 3-week study, it's 1 hour a week. It's the same. We just do it in one sitting. Now,
so it's because we just don't want to see people again?
No, it's because people don't want to do 3 to 8 weeks of an orientation.
Oh, but they're
class.
willing to do life with us?
Yeah, because
how could they be willing to do life if they can't give us 3 to 8 weeks?
Oh man, our people will lay down their lives for each other, but ain't nobody got time for 8 weeks of introduction classes about the church when you can get it done in 3 to 4 hours.
But see, what you do is you give broad brushstrokes, right? Like here's an overarching idea, but these classes they go deep into each one.
No, they don't.
You don't know because we're not doing it. How do you know?
First of all, because I know those churches and I know those guys and I've seen their content. We decided to do 3 classes instead of 4, 6, or 8 because we felt like that's what we needed to cover.
So now 3 classes, but we're only doing 1.
No, we're doing 3 classes, but we do them in one sitting. So we do an hour-long class, we take a break, hour-long class, take a break. All right. So you're just trying to provoke. You're trying to start arguments because you think that's funny.
I'm not trying to start an argument. I'm just trying to say, you can't really. People by the end, maybe they feel a little too tired to ask any questions.
No.
You know.
I've been doing this for 10 years. I think I know you.
I've seen the caliber of your leadership, sir.
Jimmy, come lately. Okay, that's you.
I know, Jimmy, come fix it.
No,
and
you ain't fixing anything.
That's why we had this intervention.
All right. Anyways, we had an orientation class. It was really good. Newcomers, people that have been around for a while but are looking to join the church. Always a really good time, and I love it. We get to talk about theology and Bible and Baptist and expectations of our members and all that stuff. It was a good time. What about you? What have you been doing?
I
really don't care. What are we talking about today?
Well, then, I don't feel like sharing any news.
Good, man.
We are going to be discussing the church in the world.
What do you mean?
What is the posture or role or function of the church in society today?
All right.
In our culture, in the world.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, this is fun because there are really different perspectives. Like people all over the place on this.
So give a few different. What do you mean? There's people that feel like you must withdraw from the world?
Right. So there's this classic book by Richard Niebuhr called Christ and Culture, and that's a book to read. And I don't find it really satisfying in terms of understanding the various ways in which churches do relate to the culture. But that's definitely one. But there seem to be 3 primary views that are out there today, kind of up front. And one is where what you said, like it's churches that, what's their posture towards the world? They withdraw from it.
Yeah,
they're just gonna
everything that is going on about culture is not good for you. So would you talk about no dancing? You know what I mean? Like people don't engage in that dancing. Don't
some
go
of
to
that.
movies. Don't
It's
or are you thinking more Amish?
Well, no, that would be a part of it. It's more that world is not our world. And we don't have a calling into that world. We are completely countercultural and distinct and different from that world. Mm-hmm. So we don't live there. We live in our own world. We live in our own kingdom, our own culture. And so sometimes...
And this is where we get, I was thinking like, well, sorry, I'm trying to think about, this is where you get like the Christian music, like the bad Christian music. This is where you get like the Christian movies, the bad Christian movies, where we have this idea that we're going to separate ourselves so much, we're going to build our own Christian industries, and
it could be. I think it's hard to say when you look at individual examples, right? Because somebody may be very much involved in the arts and in that industry, and they may want to make a film that is specifically Christian and used as sort of an evangelistic or teaching tool, and that doesn't mean that they are overall withdrawing from culture, but it may mean...
I guess I'm thinking of the ones that really are withdrawing from culture. One, they don't... The idea is, this is bad here. Let's just have the Christian version that is good over here.
If you slap a Jesus sticker on it, now it's been sanctified. Like I remember I used to get so angry because I'd go into this Christian bookstore and you couldn't just buy a toy dinosaur for your kid. You had to buy a toy dinosaur that said Jesus is Rexcellent. Okay, so first of all, I want to punch the dinosaur in the face. I
want to punch babies when I hear that.
Wait, what?
No, what?
What did you say?
No, what did you say?
Oh my gosh!
What are you talking about?
You went weird and dark.
What are you talking about? I'm just saying.
You want to punch babies?
I never said that. Who said that? I'm just saying.
Okay.
I'm just saying. It makes me a little angry.
It brings out the sin in you, is what you're trying to say. You just gave a very extreme example.
Okay, fair enough.
Right,
it brings out the sin in me.
Right. So
like, call me out, dude.
Well, you said it. You said it
all the time.
Okay, that's a weird one.
What do you mean?
Punch babies.
I never said that. Maybe.
Okay. What's weird is that Jimmy is the most sensitive guy about kids. If I even tell him a story about a little kid getting hurt, he cries like a baby.
I do not cry like a baby.
You cry. You get a little quiver lip.
Oh, I'm so sorry that I feel things, Joe.
Yeah,
my heart
you do.
has not been so. My heart has not been. What's the word?
I don't know. You're
calloused.
It's
my heart has not been so calloused over the years of murder podcasts.
You are butt sensitive overall, is what I think it is.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
What'd you say?
You're butt sensitive.
I don't even know what that means.
Okay, we've talked about this before. Usually when you say a person is butt sensitive, it means that their feelings get hurt easily. Because,
my feelings don't get hurt easily.
No, I'm using it in a different capacity. Right. I'm just trying to explain to you the definition of the term.
Okay.
Listen, we need to get back to it.
No, but you called me that. I'm saying I'm not
You're
that.
Overly sensitive.
No, hold on. There's a difference. I'm overly sensitive to other people's pain. I'm not overly sensitive, like defensive.
No. Jimmy's got a thick skin. Jimmy's got rhino skin.
Oh,
you're thick skinned, yeah. So do I. I don't care what people say. No. But you're very, you're very, very ladylike when it comes to.
Okay, stop it. All I'm trying
how
to say
you feel
is
for other people.
That is a terrible, like that example that you're giving is a terrible example of Christians trying to.
Oh, here we go. Yes.
Like they make it cheesy and it's horrible and it's terrible and this is why people laugh at us.
Yeah.
This is why we get laughed
because
at.
those people are essentially copying the world while trying to withdraw from the world. And so withdrawing from the world, listen.
Burn that thing.
You want to punch some babies.
No, I just no, that's what I want to burn it.
You're going to get email. You could get tweets.
Who knows? No, I'm not.
Hashtag Jimmy Fofo punch babies.
Stop it. I don't want no hashtags. Stop it.
Fofo baby puncher.
No. All right. That's not funny, guys. Joe, you know what? Hey, I just need you to be serious. So withdrawing from the world, what about when transforming the world?
Yeah, that's like the other way. Like so on one end of the spectrum, you've got those that want to withdraw from the culture, and on the other end of the spectrum, you have those people, those churches, those organizations that view the church as a vehicle by which God is going to transform the world. Mm-hmm. And listen, there are good and bad examples. I should say this: there are bad and better examples of all of these views. So there are always going to be really bad examples, and those are the ones we make fun of and point at and like, haha. But then there are better examples that are thoughtful and respectful, and they're not altogether crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm not throwing any people that hold these views totally under the bus. But the people that are transformationalists, they really view the church's role as redemptive. They want to step into the culture. They tend to be more involved politically. Oftentimes, not always, they are like Christian America, bring America back to its American racist roots again. I mean, just
whoa.
I don't know what I said. But they tend to be optimistic, if not triumphalistic, and
like this dominion mentality. Would you now here? I know we're going to talk about this later at some point. So, but I'm going to ask the question now. Like, are you talking about? And this is for me I'm asking this question for me because I don't know. Would you classify like theonomists in here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Theonomists would definitely be here. And we're going to talk about theonomy on a different podcast, where we're going to lose 10% of our listeners probably.
What do you mean lose 10%?
No, because
we have 10% of our listeners are theonomists?
I think we probably have 10% are going to. I don't know. Maybe my experience has been the theonomists are a little sensitive. So, but maybe not. Maybe that's just my experience.
Like butthurt?
Yeah, they tend to be. No, that's probably not true. If you're a theonomist and you're not that way, then cool, awesome. And if you are, I told you so.
So I was right. All right.
So
another perspective.
So it's the trans. Yeah, we're gonna encroach. Now here's the thing. Like I see this reflected in a lot of churches, the transformationalists, especially like in the church plants. Oh, what's their tagline? You've seen it a million times. We haven't discussed this. What is the tagline?
Making an impact in the community.
Right.
Yeah.
Or even more often, more on the nose. Renewing the city.
Renewing a city.
Yeah,
yes.
Renewing the city. No, you're not.
Oh, what?
They're not renewing the city.
Oh,
Stop it.
What do you mean?
Just, they need to stop it.
No, they're
You're not.
Okay, hold on. You're not saying stop actually trying to make an impact. You're just saying stop being cheesy with your tagline.
I'm saying that you're not going to transform the city. That's what I'm saying.
You're saying that there is no. What do you mean by that?
I'm saying that no church is going to transform the city. That's what I'm saying.
I'm trying to think of Tim Keller's book on this.
Yeah. Come on, TK.
Oh, well, let's. Hey, listen.
It's not going to transform the city. Now, you can have an impact in the city.
Can you renew?
No. First of all, renewal is the work of God. Second of all, the renewal that God talks about is either spiritual in people, or it is cosmic, and it comes at the end. I don't see renewal happening. Oh, that's my phone is dinging. Sorry about that, Jimmy. Jimmy's giving me a face. I just don't think it's going to happen, and I don't think that's the mission. Anyways, the mission is not to transform the world. The mission is not to make cities better. I think we can make a difference, and I think
by doing the actual mission of making disciples,
right? And I think as disciples we should be involved. But goodness, I just don't think that we should expect that the world is going to adopt the values of the kingdom because we're politically oriented or socially savvy. Yeah, no. So anyways, the transformationalists, that's them.
All right. Well then, what about the what's the other one? That two kingdom perspective.
Right. And that's the other big view that's popular now. Again, bad and better.
I know.
Versions.
Give an idea. Like, what is that? For those that don't know, what is the two kingdom? Like,
okay.
I know I'm trying to say it like in a nutshell. But
right.
How do you? Yeah.
So, in a nutshell, I would say that Jimmy's laughing. I would say it this way: that these are Christians that recognize that we live in two kingdoms. See Augustine's City of God, City of Man. That we live in two kingdoms. We live in the kingdom of God, and we live in the kingdom of the world. And that there are differences between these kingdoms, but that we live in both, and that our allegiance is to one over the other, and it frames our life, but we cannot live divorced from the kingdom of man either. And I think I guess it's hard to say because there are so many different sort of nuances of it.
Yeah, that's why I even struggle. Like, how do you come up with a general idea of this?
I think you know what? Here, I'm gonna
do it. Google it.
No, because I know.
Google it.
Here's what I'm going to Google. Ready?
Kevin
DeYoung. 2K. I read this a long time ago. I mean, I haven't read it in a long time.
I'm pretty sure he took it from Jason Halopoulos.
Who took it from me? I wrote about it last year. Okay. So here's what he said. I read this. This was 2009. So I read this a while ago, and
it was that impactful for you that you remember.
I remember he wrote about it. Well, what I liked about what Kevin said was he basically said, "Hey, man, there's some stuff here that's good, and there's some stuff here that could be abused.
Yeah.
And don't freak out." And so I think guys like Michael Horton might be more of a two kingdom kind of a guy. So anyways, here's what he said, and we'll link to this in the show notes. the two kingdom folks believe in a kingdom of this world and a kingdom of Christ. We have a dual citizenship as Christians. Further, the realm of nature should not be expected to function and look like the realm of grace. Living in the tension, and that's always something that's repeated here in the two kingdom stuff. Living in the tension of two kingdoms, we should stop trying to transform the culture of this world into the kingdom of our Lord and instead focus on the church, being the church, led by its duly ordained officers and ministering through the ordinary means of grace. So that's it in a nutshell. We are in both. We embrace our place in both, but our emphasis as the church is on the church and on making disciples. So, but then he goes through like there are some dangers associated with it. He says I'm glad we Googled this one. This one's good. On the plus side for the two kingdom approach. So here's what he likes about the two kingdom approach. Emphasis on the church and the ordinary means of grace, preaching, ordinances, things like that. Realistic appraisal of our fallen world and the dangers of utopian idealism. Acknowledges that while Christians can do and should do many worthwhile things in the world, the church as church has a more limited mandate. It avoids endless and often silly pronouncements of all sorts of cultural and political matters. It takes seriously the already and not yet of the kingdom. Mm-hmm. It understands that every nice thing that happens in the world is not kingdom work. And it's a bulwark against theonomy and Reconstructionism. But then he says there are some dangers. He says that there can be an exaggerated distinction between laity and church officers. Where, for example, evangelism is the responsibility of elders and pastors and not of the regular church members. There can be an unwillingness to boldly call Christians to work for positive change in their communities. So some people can sort of begin to withdraw from culture again. And then the doctrine of the spirituality of the church allowed the church to punt on the issues of slavery during the 19th century. So in other words, they don't feel compelled to get involved in social justice when they actually should have a prophetic voice of some sort. So there you go. That's probably a helpful way to summarize it better than I could do off the cuff. So Jimmy, so we don't have all the answers here for this sort of thing. Like, what's the role of the church in the world? I'll be honest, I've been reading on that and thinking about it since Bible college, and I think it's easier to talk about in general, but where do you start? Like, how, if we want to start thinking through what is the posture of the church in the world, where do we start? In your opinion, what do you think?
I feel like you got to start with the gospel. You got to start with the gospel of God. You got to start with the kingdom of God. And you got to start with the mission of the church, right? You got to understand those first.
Right.
I feel like sometimes this word sounds wrong, but like we got to start with the basic. We got to start at this level before you start to try to branch off into, you know what I mean? We focus on those things, but really we need to be focusing on the gospel, the kingdom, and the mission.
This is good. I think you're right, because if we don't start with the gospel, if we don't, because your understanding of the gospel impacts your understanding of the kingdom, which impacts your understanding of the mission. Yeah. Well, that is what the church does.
That's right.
So, how do we tend to define the gospel here at Redeemer?
The life, death, and resurrection of Christ.
Right. It's history. It happened.
It happened, and it's for us. That it's our inability to justify ourselves, our inability to make ourselves righteous before God. It is our need of a Savior who lived a perfect life of obedience that we could not. It's that obedience that has been, credited to our account, and he has atoned for our sins, the just penalty for our sins, is manifested through the Spirit and the power of God as he rose from the dead, conquering sin and death. And he ascended into heaven, and one day will return, and he's preparing a place for us.
Right. That's good, man. So, I mean, what you're saying there is that the gospel is history. It happened in space and in time. It's Jesus Christ, life, death, and resurrection, by which, by God's grace, in those acts, sinners are justified, reconciled to God. They are promised a future inheritance and a resurrection of their own. Right.
So what would you say about the kingdom then? Because
thanks for giving me the hard one.
Yeah, that's right. I'm like, I'm giving him this one. I mean, like the kingdom, like you think of like sometimes there's a misunderstanding. I'm going to advance the kingdom, and I'm going to, or I'm advancing my kingdom, the prayer of Jabez, and increase my land.
I'll tell you what, prayer of Jabez worked
for you
for that book.
For that book,
I made millions of dollars off that book.
Gosh. You get that you really like.
That's the one time the prayer of Jabez worked was on that book.
It was on that book.
It was all blown on that book. All right, so the kingdom of God, it's, wow, that's a huge issue. So I'm going to define it like this. I will say that the kingdom of God is Christ's redemptive reign. I think that's the safest, simplest way that I can say it right now. It is.
So when you say redemptive reign, are we talking about here and now or to come?
Yeah, so it is his redemptive reign over his people and all creation. However, his reign over all creation redemptively isn't fully experienced yet. We're waiting for his return.
Already, but not yet. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, already not yet. But some people might not know what that means. That's why I'm trying to avoid the cliche.
I'm just saying. There you go. It helps you. It's already, you experience a piece of it now, but you won't experience it fully until later.
There you go. Very good. So I think, we say what does Christ's kingdom consist of? It is made up of those who are born again by the Spirit, who have believed in and are following Jesus Christ. And so the kingdom is comprised of churches and Christians, and it will ultimately include all of creation when Christ returns and completes the full application of redemption. So the gospel, what Christ does to bring about salvation, is what establishes this kingdom, which is characterized by a mission.
Yeah. I mean, we find the mission in Matthew 28.
You get the easy one.
I know. Making disciples.
Right. Now, we just talked about this in our orientation class, which Jim called an intervention.
For Joe, the intervention.
Because I am surrounded by a bunch of people at once looking at me. And we have this, we talk about what the mission of the church is. And what we say is the mission of the church is to make disciples. It is not to feed the homeless or to clothe the naked.
Yeah.
It is not to transform the city. It is not to get laws passed. It is not to help the disenfranchised. Now, the mission is to make disciples, and as disciples, we do those things. Mm-hmm. We care about social justice. We maintain a prophetic role, and we have a prophetic voice in our culture as disciples. But the mission of the church, what drives and characterizes the whole, is making disciples, and doing that locally and globally. So it's a distinction that I think is important to make, but it doesn't mean that we are completely divorced from our activity in the world, like loving our neighbors. In fact, in the Reformed tradition, we like to make this distinction between the Great Commission and the Great Commandment. So the Great Commission being what you're talking about, Jimmy, the mission, but then the Great Commandment.
Well, the commission.
What?
Well, it's just the commission.
It's the Great Commission.
Well, our heading says Great Commission, but
it's a Great Commission.
Well, no, Jesus didn't call it the Great Commission.
He kind of did.
No, he did. He called it the Commission. He didn't call the commandment great.
He didn't call the Commission. He doesn't use the word commission.
Okay, but we don't call it the Great Commission. It's not the Great Commission. Yeah. It's a commission. It's
because he said what's the greatest, and Jesus said there's two.
Love God. That's the commandment. That's just the Great Commandment.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right.
Yeah. That's
and then the Great Commission.
He didn't say Great Commission, but continue.
Okay. Well, I'm going to call it Great Commission.
Okay. Our heading says that. But
okay. Fine. Yeah. ESV.
Yeah. I would just say the infallible heading that the editors put in over at.
Yeah. Great. Okay.
Over at Crossway.
But people know what don't be dumb. Don't be dumb.
No, I'm just saying.
Okay.
Well, I'm just saying that's actually important.
Oh, okay.
The commandment is what's great.
Okay.
To love God and love your neighbor.
Hey. Okay, why don't you tell us what the Greek word for commandment is, since you want to get into the language? Go ahead. What is it?
All right, you got to.
All right. So we've got what's popularly known as the Great Commission.
Yeah, popular level,
And then we have what's known as the Great Commandments.
Mm-hmm. And biblical level,
And so we have the love the Lord your God, but then the love your neighbor.
Yeah.
So frequently we talk about the Great Commandment, loving others, and the Great Commission, making disciples. And these things are distinct.
Yeah.
They are not the same. They are very, very different. The Great Commandment is something that all people, regardless of what they believe, are held responsible for.
Yes.
Everybody's supposed to love their neighbor. but only the church is responsible for carrying out the Great Commission. So they're distinct, but they are connected. And as a redeemed community, we take that commandment to love others very, very seriously.
Yes.
So gospel, Christ, life, death, and resurrection gives rise to this kingdom, which is characterized by mission. And once we understand that our mission is to be focused on preaching, focused on disciple making, focused on the community of faith as countercultural believers in the world that are yet sojourners here, but we're here, we're present. I guess I fall more towards the two kingdoms perspective. I'm definitely not for withdrawing.
No.
But
you're not a theonomist.
I'm not any kind of transformationalist, but I do believe we need to be involved. And so I think, we have to say it's about making disciples.
Yes.
But
that's the primary mission.
Yeah. I think that if we're about that, we're going to have our best impact and we're not going to be confused.
So what about then,
hang on, my wife's texting me. Hang on. I always pick up if it's my wife.
I know, that's fine. That's fine.
All right, here we go. She's saying this.
Yeah, you better.
Okay. So
it sounds like we're recording a podcast right now.
All right. So
thanks, Jen.
I'm busy
I'm really
now.
glad that. Jen, this is my time.
This
is my time.
On your way.
What? She's coming here?
We're gonna swap vehicles because I had to borrow my dad's because we're a single car family. So I had to borrow my dad's vehicle.
Oh, I did see it out there. Yep.
Yeah. All right. So you were asking what now? What were you saying?
Well, no, I was going to ask about what's his name? The guy, short guy, wears a suit.
Yeah.
Has a tie.
Teller.
No,
that's Penn and Teller. He wears short guy. Wears a suit.
No, it's the other guy.
Hitler.
We have his book.
Hitler.
No, stop.
He's short guy.
Stop it. We have his book. Remember, we read his book. It's the
Yeah.
book. Remember the one, the B&H publishing one?
Yeah. Napoleon.
Stop it.
Joe Pesci.
Stop it. Russ Moore. Russ Moore.
What about Russ Moore?
At ERLC. Like, how does
wait,
all...
What'd you call it?
The ERLC.
It's called the ERLC.
ERLC?
That's what they call it.
ERLC?
Yeah.
It's ERLC.
No, they don't.
It's
They never say ERL. They all say ERLC.
ERLC? Who says ERLC?
Everybody. Russ, that's how he introduces it. He goes, hi, I'm Russ Moore, president of ERLC. That's what he says.
That's what he says? Mm-hmm. It's because he's trying to act hip. He's like, oh, I'm so funny, ERLC.
No, that's what they call it.
It's ERLC. Actually, they don't. Yeah, I guess maybe look at the website.
All right. So, do you know what the ERLC is?
What is that?
What do they say? Because you can go to the website. What does it say?
Ethics, religious liberty. What's the C?
Okay, the ethics and religious liberty.
I know, what's the C?
You look it up. It's on the website.
I gotta go to the website.
No, you.
See, commission.
Yeah. Oh, see.
Convention. I was about to say convention. All right. So the Ethics and Religious Liberty Commission. So what is that? That's the...
Okay, the website says it is an entity of the Southern Baptist Convention.
So Southern Baptists really do care about ethics and religious liberty.
Yeah. The ERLC is dedicated to engaging the culture with the gospel of Jesus Christ and speaking to issues in the public square for the protection of religious liberty and human flourishing.
Flourishing.
Our vision can be summed up in 3 words: kingdom, culture, mission.
I'm pretty sure they took that from you.
Well, I wrote mine first.
Yeah, I think you wrote that.
I write everything first.
Yeah, but you did that back in 2002.
05.
No, 2002.
It was 05. No, it was 05.
All
right. So what's the mission? It says like... go
The
ahead.
ERLC exists to assist the churches by helping them understand the moral demands of the gospel, applying Christian principles to moral and social problems and questions of public policy, and to promote religious liberty in cooperation with the churches and other Southern Baptist entities.
Right. So the ERLC is this organization that wants to not only engage in the public square, and representing a voice for Southern Baptists, but also they want to push in the culture for religious liberty, which, by the way, is a Baptist principle that goes back to our very beginning. Yeah. We've always been for religious liberty, whether you're Baptist, Muslim, Jewish,
so it's
whatever.
Regardless of whether you are a Christian or a Baptist, it's liberty for all.
Right. Liberty and justice for all.
For all.
Right. So the ERLC it's got potential to be a very cool thing. I think it's a good thing, especially now that my homeboy Russ Moore is the president.
Yeah, I mean, you probably remember Russ when it was Russ Moore in the Distance. It was a popular CCM band in the 80s and 90s.
No.
Put out such hits and tunes such as what?
No, that's Jeff Moore in the Distance, not Russ Moore.
That wasn't Russ Moore?
No, Russ Moore.
Come
he
on,
ain't even
come on.
that
I
old.
thought maybe we had that one guy. Who was that one? Denny Burke was in the Backstreet Boys?
No. Oh,
was he
goodness.
in?
First of all, Denny Burke is way too nerdy to be in anything like the Backstreet Boys. That was Brooke Parson.
Oh, Burke Parsons was in something.
Listen, there is
I'm just saying, we had one guy
there. There is such a huge
and we had
chasm.
Russ Moore in the Distance.
There is such a huge chasm between nerdy Burke and Burke Baller Parson. So there is a totally big difference between those two guys.
Either way,
Yeah.
Russ Moore can jam.
Yes, but he was not Russ Moore in the Distance. Russ Moore, it says this on the website, he is the president of the Ethics and Religious Liberty Commission of the Southern Baptist Convention, which is the moral concerns and public policy entity of the nation's largest Protestant denomination. Moore is a frequent cultural commentator, an ethicist, and a theologian by background, and he is an ordained Southern Baptist minister. Russ Moore is the guy that you see on CNN. A lot, or on whatever, MSNBC. Russ Moore is the guy that I am finally not embarrassed to have speak for the convention that I'm a part of.
Absolutely.
Russ Moore is smart, articulate, winsome. He's funny. He's
he's funny.
Oh, he is funny.
Really?
Yeah, man. You ain't been watching him. Remember when Trump said that he was nasty?
That wasn't funny. That
was funny.
No, that was just, I felt like he was being serious. He wasn't trying to be funny. He was actually
funny.
sincere.
He changed his Twitter handle. He changed his Twitter bio.
To
being like one of the nastiest evangelical leaders.
That's pretty good then.
Yeah,
that's pretty funny.
No, he's funny.
That's a good sense of humor right there.
I'll tell you what about Russ Moore. Dude can preach and he can write.
We heard them at the For the Church conference.
Oh,
Remember
man.
that? Was
Russ
that last
Moore
year we went?
can preach. Dang it. And here, what's cool is some guys can preach, some guys can write. Very few can do both, like Russ Moore and me.
Well, not
like
just
only a few. Wait,
Russ Moore and you.
Yeah. What? There's not a lot.
Don't compare the two.
No?
You could preach.
Yeah.
And you could write booklets.
Yeah.
Russ Moore preaches
And he
writes books.
Those are actual books.
Those are actual books.
They have more than 50 pages.
And the guy's quick on his feet in interviews.
What? I'm pretty quick.
No, you're not.
I'm like the Flash. Listen, Russ Moore, I'll tell you what. Russ Moore's book, the first book that I read of his, I was late to the game with reading Dr. Moore, was Tempted and Tried.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, it is such a good book. What's cool is that Russ Moore's not just a good theologian and a good thinker.
Yeah.
He writes beautifully and powerfully and provocatively. You've got to get it out. And then Onward, of course, is really good. So here's the thing with Russ Moore. Russ Moore is one of those guys who is constantly engaging in this issue of how does the church relate to the world.
Yeah.
That's what he does. That's really his job.
And that's his job, and he's doing it out of the ERLC, which and working alongside other Southern Baptist churches and entities. But why is it though? Recently, like people are having an issue with him.
Oh yeah, they don't like Russ.
Like why?
You know why?
Why? Yeah, I'm trying to understand why people don't like Russ.
My fundamental problem with Russ Moore is that thick head of hair that he's got.
That
guy, he will never go bald. Look at that jerk. Look at that head of hair.
Look at that jerk. Is that what you think of me? Is that what you think of me?
He's flaunting it all the time. He's on TV with his hair. Oh, here's Jimmy flipping his hair all over the place.
I like that.
No, I'll tell you why. Everybody's upset with Russ Moore because of, I think, a couple of things. Number one, not everybody. Some Southern
people,
Baptists are upset with Russ Moore.
And calling for him to leave, right?
Oh, yeah. They want Russ Moore to step down.
And we're not, the ERLC is not sponsoring the pod. Though, Russ, if you would like to, you can contact me at info@doctrineanddevotion.com and we could set up.
We've got an infographic. We'll tell you like what the rates are, like how it all works, how downloads.
Yeah. So, Russ, please go ahead and feel free to reach out to us.
ERLC for life, hashtag. All right. So, we're not being sponsored. Russ didn't ask us to write this.
We genuinely Russ.
Oh yeah, we've been appreciative of Dr. Moore for a while now,
and his music since the 80s.
Listen, I can tell you, like, I for years I would see like some other guy up there on CNN speaking for us as Southern Baptists, and I'd be like, "Oh, dude, shut up! I don't want you talking."
Who's the other dude?
I'm not going to mention his name. I'm just saying
there had to only be one other one.
No, there's different people, but
how many times has that position changed over the years?
Just that. I'm not just talking about that position. I'm talking about there are people that have spoken in the past. Right. So when Dr. Moore speaks or Dr. Moeller speaks, I'm fine. But there have been others, and it's like, oh my gosh. I'll just tell you, Jerry Falwell was one. I don't want Jerry Falwell speaking for me.
No.
Well, he's passed away. But when he was alive and speaking, I was like, dude, just take that mic away. And then there are others. I'm not going to get into it. Point is, Moore's up there.
Yeah.
And even when I disagree with him, I'm like, man, sharp dude, respectful, lot
Guy's
to learn.
great.
Dude's not racist. I like that.
Dude's not racist. I like that.
Well, hasn't. Yeah, okay. So anyways.
You can stop right there.
What were we saying about Russ? So people are mad. Some people are upset because when during the presidential election 2016, Russ Moore said a couple things in passing about Donald Trump. Just
President-elect Donald Trump.
Now PE.
President-elect.
PET.
PET?
Yeah.
I like that. That's good. PET.
So President-elect Trump, before he was President-elect Trump, when he was just like crazy candidate Trump, Russ would, just very gently say things like, hey, Trump's kind of a lunatic. You might not want to vote for him. He's a bad moral example, doesn't really have experience. So Russ was pretty vocal in his opposition to Trump. And I think he expressed bewilderment that so many Southern Baptists who in years past would get all riled up about
Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton and all these things.
Any moral misstep, they would be like,
but all of a sudden,
out.
groping Trump comes along and we're okay with it.
Yeah, Trump can come along with disgusting rhetoric at times and disgusting actions. And everybody's like, yeah, it's cool. I'm going to vote for him. So Russ Moore expressed some of that.
Now all of a sudden it's okay. It wasn't okay with Bill Clinton.
Oh no! When it's your guy,
it's fine. And when he says he's a believer, man, I'm not saying maybe he is. Maybe Trump is. I don't know. I'm not going to question.
So Jimmy just said Trump is a faithful follower of Jesus.
I didn't say that. I just said I don't know the man's heart, and that's where I'm going to leave it at that.
It's a cop out, but go ahead.
It is a cop out because I don't know.
No, it's not. It's a cop out.
But I was just saying, just because it's our guy, or our what we think the religious right wants, we're now okay with a guy that on tape says, "I could just grab it." I could just grab it.
Embarrassing, dude.
I know. I'm just saying. I'm trying even hard not to say what I really. At this point, hide your babies because that's what this does.
Yeah, because Jimmy will punch him, and we don't know what Trump will do.
Just the fact that, and we're okay with that. But everyone gets upset.
The truth is, most of us will give our guy a pass, and we won't give their guy a pass. That's pretty much how most of us react in life. Yeah. It's true. We give.
No, I know. I'm trying to stop it. Leave me
alone. So people were upset though because Russ came out so hard against Trump, and though I think he needed to because there was such an evangelical groundswell of support for Trump.
It was really shocking.
Hey guys, hey geniuses, that's his job. That's what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to talk about these things, and though you can't get mad when he talks about it and he says things that you don't like because he ain't you. Anyway. They were said about that. Russ Moore is definitely not the transformationalist that previous generations were. So there was a lot of pushback on that. I would encourage you guys to read Moore's book, Onward. We'll link to that.
Yeah, Onward's good.
Listen to him, to check out his YouTube videos so you can see some of him on CNN to see I think a really good example of how a Christian steps into the public square in a political and social context and has conversations with people that do not know where he's coming from. Because Russ is the one that continues to say to us and to the culture, hey, Christians are weird. You guys are not going to understand us because our worldview is so completely antithetical to who you are and to what you believe that you're going to see us as more and more strange all the time.
So here's the thing, though, right? People have been saying he's got to go. Some people have been. And what they've been trying to say is that he is out of line with the convention. He's not in step with the convention.
Right.
Do you agree with that, though? Because that's different than saying, I disagree with someone's view. What they're claiming is his view does not represent the convention's values.
Okay, so what I would say is what I want Russ Moore to represent are biblical values. Now,
which hopefully would be the convention values?
Well, it wasn't when we were formed in 1845 and we're owning slaves.
Fair enough.
So I would hope that it is, but so yeah, Russ, I'll tell you this. I know he reflects my values. I know he reflects the values of everybody that I hang with.
Yeah.
But I also know that he doesn't reflect the values of some people that And it's not any one kind. There are some megachurch pastors that are upset, like, we're going to withhold our money from giving to the cooperative program, which is how the Southern Baptist Convention collects their offerings, until Russ Moore goes, which is, hey, guy, that's awesome. That's a way to freeze out missionaries and to not support those.
Oh, and
that
way
are
to
hungry.
honor the covenant that you signed. To support what you're doing. So all of a sudden now your word is no longer.
They don't have to commit to a certain percentage.
No, they don't have to commit, but you still commit. You committed to give something, and now you're withholding that.
Yeah, they'll probably give $1.
No, they're not. Why would they do that? Why would you give $1? If you're not going to give anything out of protest, you're not going to give $1 because you're still supporting it then.
But $1. Who cares?
Oh my gosh. I'm just saying it kind of speaks volume to your integrity.
Yeah, you're right. So, yeah, some people
you're just a baby.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just going to throw it out there. You're just a
baby.
I'm going to take my ball and go home, guys.
Good. Your bright colored ball. Have fun. Play with it by yourself in your basement, your padded basement.
We just got really negative.
Yeah. I'm annoyed.
I know. That's what I was just saying. I can feel like the whole
All right.
podcast. Right
Here's
here
the thing. Let's get back to this. We'll end with this.
Okay.
Christians.
Stop it.
Stop being idiots. We'll start with Jimmy and I. We'll stop being idiots in all the areas we're being idiots, and then you stop being an idiot by asking Russ Moore to step down.
Well, hold on. Wait. But that means then no more. We can't be us then.
Oh no, I'm not taking us seriously.
Okay, we're not. We don't have to actually. change
we're trumping this thing.
We're trumping.
Yeah, no.
I'm just gonna claim it, but never actually do it. Gotcha.
No, I would say I'll just ask Christians and churches. We're supposed to be in the world, right?
Correct.
Jesus says this, John 20. I think it's John 20. John 20 maybe, where he says, "I've not called you out of the world, but I'm sending you into the world. As the Father has sent me, so I send you."
Said something about that.
Yeah. So we are sent into the world. We're supposed to be in the world. What's our mission in the world?
Make disciples.
Right? Now, as disciples, what should we be doing? Loving our neighbors, right? Serving, sacrificing, speaking prophetically and otherwise. So there's different views, there's different perspectives, but let's agree on the mission. Let's agree on what our work is. Let's agree on that our presence in the world is, as Jesus said, salt and light.
Yeah.
We can agree on that stuff. We can argue about the way that we're parsing it out theologically. But, let's get serious about our privileged posture in the world, which will be most of the time to be persecuted and to be hated. It's not going to be loved. It's not going to be heralded, and we're not going to be bringing about all kinds of change. We'll bring about less change than Obama. Okay, we'll bring about. We'll bring about. God can through us can bring about eternal change in individuals. But really, historically, what has the church accomplished in the world? Well, that you can see in any one city. For limited periods of time, during periods of revival, you can see it.
Yeah.
But that's these moments. Overall,
but it hasn't been lasting in that regard.
We're rounded up,
Yeah.
and we're fed to lions. We're thrown into jails.
Yeah.
Families are split apart. That is the history of the church in the world. So, with that, big thanks to Justin Bond at J Bond Media. He is our engineer and editor. He makes us sound good. We love Justin, and we got a project.
Even when we get annoyed.
Up. I don't get annoyed with Justin.
No, not him. I'm talking about he makes us sound good even when we get annoyed.
Yeah. Hey, remember the Noid?
The Noid? The Pizza Hut.
Yeah! Pizza Hut.
Wait, the Pizza Hut, is it Pizza Hut or was it Domino's?
That was Domino's.
It was
the Noid at Domino's. Yeah.
Noid.
The Noid. All right. So yeah, if you have any audio or visual needs.
Can we talk? I think we should talk about our project.
Well, I don't think this one's going to fall in the middle of others where we're not going to be talking about it.
I still think it's time.
Go ahead.
Oh, no. I'm going to let you, sir.
We are coming out.
Yes.
With Doctrine and Devotion Snuggies.
Yeah, buddy.
It is they keep you warm in the winter.
And we actually made a 2-person one.
Oh, yeah.
So actually what you guys can't see is Joe and I snuggie when we do
That's
these.
right. Well, now we do because we
because we got the snuggies. And then
hang on, wait,
at night.
Wait, move over. All right.
Gotcha.
All right, go.
All right, good. No, come on, for real. Tell them. We ain't got the snuggies, but now I kind of want one.
I do. That sounds pretty good, right?
Come on, March 11th. Let's tell people.
First Doctrine and Devotion Conference, just outside of Chicago in St. Charles, Illinois.
Boom!
2017, March 11th. Confessional Piety.
My goodness. You know what? All those suckers that already tuned out and stopped,
That's right.
They're missing out.
That's right. You can't come now.
That's right.
We don't want your money.
Now some of y'all might get an early bird special since you heard this.
There is going to be an early bird special, I think. So listen, here's the thing. We're going to do a conference in Chicagoland, in the western suburbs.
My goodness.
Right here in St. Charles.
Let's do it.
It's going to happen March 11th. We're going to have Jim, Original Gangster Renahan.
Boom, Dr. Renahan.
The doc.
The doc is in the house.
He's going to come in here. He's going to preach 3 times. He's going to teach 3 times. I'm going to teach once. And we're going to talk about confessions and how confessions relate to the life of piety and godliness. It's going to be great. You want to be a part of this. You will be able to register and attend. We're going to have prizes and stuff for people that are there. We're going to have some gifts.
And actually part of your registration, if you're here, is what?
Well, that's what you want to tell them? You're going to get a custom moleskin journal.
Moleskin Kaye journal.
Engraved or printed with some original D&D artwork that no one has seen yet.
Boom. Thank you.
Just
Peter
for the conference.
Ball.
Yeah, Peter Ball. So, lots of stuff. And if you can't make it to the event, you'll be able to register and just get the video download. So it's going to be really good. We're excited about that, man. It's going to be good.
It's going to be awesome. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Doc and Devo, and on Facebook /Doctrine and Devotion. You can head on over to our website, doctrineanddevotion.com. First, you can click on the sign-up page, and there you can go ahead and enter in your email, and you can stay up to date with everything Doctrine and Devotion. Then you can also hit on the Contact Us page, fill out the form, and send us any thoughts, ideas, suggestions, or even prayer requests. You can leave us an honest 5-star review on iTunes or whatever your podcast platform. What is it called? Platform?
I'm not listening. I'm doing something.
Podcast provider.
I've tuned out, dude.
Thanks, dude. And tell a friend. If this has been beneficial and edifying to you, please let other people know about it. Sharing is caring. Fresh pod every Monday and Thursday. Later.
Peace.